Okay, let's take you back to City Power's depot in Alexandra in Johannesburg as they continue to clamp down on customers and businesses they say are not paying their debt. However, Newzroom Afrika has been speaking to a number of impacted parties, some of whom have proof that indeed they have been paying. Ahmed Kajee is standing by to speak to the utility spokesperson, Mangena. Ahmed, good afternoon.
Thanks very much, Dudu. We are now joined by Mangena, the spokesperson for City Power. Just to give you some quick recap, there was the fuel station which was cut off earlier this morning after the owner had went back to City Power to sort out his account. He actually proved that their account was actually up to date and there was an error on the City Power side, and they had received an apology from the members and the officials over at the City Power offices. Mangena, spokesperson of City Power, thanks very much for your time today. We have just spoken to the owner of that fuel station we were at earlier this morning. He says his account was up to date and he has proof of that. He has received an apology from your officials just up the road. Your response to that?
Yes, we often bump into those kind of customers. You know, what happens is that we get the list of the customers that need to be cut off from the city's finance department, and we follow that every time we go. And by the time we get to get the customer, sometimes they basically deal with their issues and fix their account. So when we get to them, they've got the proof to do so. So we really appreciate the fact that they managed to move and ensure that their account are in order. We saw the same thing, I think it was yesterday as well, where the customer basically came out with the proof to say they are not owing anything, and that's what we want. That's the spirit we want of customers that are actually...
Apologies to interject, Isaac. When we had spoken to the owner, he said things were up to scratch and he had told you that at the site of his fuel station. Your staff members told him that there was no meter on the property. Upon arriving at the City of Johannesburg offices, at City Power offices, we understand the meter is on the property and it is in his offices. He says they are up to date and in good faith they have paid 41,000 Rand more in advance. It seems that there was a mistake on your team's side this morning.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We've got two different teams that deal with the issues of debt recollection. You've got those that actually issue pre-termination letters, and we went to the customer with that pre-termination letter that we received. But it might change along the way between when we get the pre-termination letter from finance and when our team go in. And our teams, when they go to site, when they go to the house, they are basically not even allowed to negotiate. The negotiations happen at our offices, and that's why that's why the customer himself basically went to the offices to ensure that they fixed that. So that's why we appreciate the fact that he did all of that and that he is a good citizen paying customer within Alexandra.
Would you apologize to him for perhaps the inconvenience caused? He was out of electricity for 2 to 3 hours and potential reputational damage due to his business being on the media space as well.
I can commend him for basically ensuring that his account is up to date, and perhaps add a little bit of apology there to say, obviously our teams were out to do their job. Our teams are basically, when they have pre-termination letters in their hands, all they do is cutting. In fact, there is a paragraph in that pre-termination letter which says the official is not even allowed to negotiate on site. So you get there, you do the cutoff, you go to the office, and the customer need to follow you to the office, and then they will deal with the administrators there. We really appreciate the fact that he did that, and he did basically prove that he has basically paid for his account.
Would you say then that there may be a disconnect between your administration officers who are in charge of your accounts and the officials who are on the ground then going to carry out these cut-off operations?
Look, I can't say there is a disconnection. Obviously, it's about the time it takes between when the pre-termination is issued and when we basically visit the customer. If a customer on site can actually prove that they've got they've paid their account, then we won't cut them. So chances are he did not on site basically show them that proof of payment, and that's why they proceeded to cut. He only produced it after, and it's unfortunate that it had to come to that. But basically, when we get the pre-termination pre-terminations. We get a lot of them. Currently, as I'm talking to you, across the city, we've got people that, revenue collection teams, that are out there basically doing the very same job that we're doing currently. And they might bump into those who have actually already paid their account. And if the person proves on site that this has been paid, we check with the finance office, and also if they confirm, then we cut. Others have lied that they've actually settled the account. You were there yesterday. There were some of those who basically would just tell you that they've settled the account, but when you say where is the proof, they don't tell you. They don't give you the proof. You remember the customer the 2 streets away from here who was owing us 2.6 million rands, and he kept on saying I've paid this account, but he couldn't produce the proof, and we ended up cutting him off. So it does happen that when we come to on site and we demand for that proof and you don't have it, we will continue to cut you off.
And then just, I guess, for the knowledge of the residents of Johannesburg, what is the timeline then between the pre-termination notices being spent out and obviously your officials then going out to cut off? And then just second and very briefly, do we also have an update on the Nigerian consulate?
So basically, we've got about 14 days of a breather between when the pre-termination is issued and when we can actually move in. So when it's issued, it's sent to the depot, which are the people who are supposed to implement it, and they will basically do that in that 14 days. And the customer may, within that 14 days, come through, and when they do, we also get a notification from the office that this customer should no longer go there. But sometimes that notification may not come, so we proceed to basically do the cut-off. But if they produce the proof, then we don't cut them off. And then in terms of the Nigerian consulate, we did basically cut them off, but they came to our offices last night, and they basically made a deposit, and we reconnected them the same day.
Right. Isaac Mangena, thanks very much for your time indeed today. There you have it, just an update with regards to what is taking place with City Power operations, and they're just giving us an update with regards to that particular fuel station, which is now being reconnected after being disconnected this morning. There seems to be that disconnect between what is taking place at the administration level and those on the ground.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ahmed Kajee, for that update.